I got a contract for the Blue Angel. And that's where Leonard Stillman came to see me and asked me to audition for New Faces of 52, which I said to Willie Morris Agency, I want to go down and audition for that. And they said, you don't want to audition for Leonard Stillman. Maybe he hasn't had a hit since 1934. I said, well, I'd like to try it anyway. So I remember Charlie Baker took me to the theater. And I don't know what I sang, but I did whatever it was that I did. And then, of course, they called me back and asked me to go for the people's home to ask for money, backers, money. And so I started doing that with them, and that's how we got money to do New Faces.
But the stardom, the big, everything kind of shooting off from that point was the New Faces of 1952, right?
Yes.
And it was like a snowball effect after that. I mean, just hits and...
With the recordings.
Tell me.
Every time a new they released a new record of mine, then it could keep New Faces open for a longer period of time. So that was quite heavy on me too, because now I was not only keeping the show going, but I was also getting very tired. And when I got pneumonia, or whatever it was that I had in Los Angeles, because I was doing the show, the Biltmore Theater downtown, the Macombo asked me to do an engagement there after our curtain went down there. And that man flew to Chicago, Charlie Morrison, who owned the Macombo, flew to Chicago to see New Faces, and he asked me if I would do him a favor and play Macombo. And I said, yes, I'll play it when we get to the Biltmore Theater, after our curtain goes down. And he said, please, you've got to do this for me, because I'm told he couldn't get a liquor license, so his place was about to close. He said, if I have your name on my liquor contract, I can stay open. And he was such a nice man. How could you say no? And I didn't care about how much work it was for me, because I never think about how hard it was going to be. Somebody asked me to do them a favor, and he was a great guy, so I did it. But I did get sick, because a police car used to come and get me at the Biltmore Theater, rush me all the way to Beverly Hills, and I would be changing my clothes in the car, and I would go on stage and do my show, 2 shows a night, and I got sick. And I still went on the show at the Biltmore, and then I was getting so sick that I was coming off stage and getting sick to my stomach, and I'd run back on stage and do what I had to do. So the doctor finally came to the theater, and he says, get in the car. I'm taking you to the Garden of Allah, and you're staying there for the hotel. The Macombo understood that, because it was Saturday night, Friday night, and they understood it. Leonard Stillman didn't. He went to the newspapers and the radio, and the headlines in the newspaper said, Eartha Kitt's walkout on New Faces gained her no friends. So you have to live through that.
And by this time, I would assume you were beginning to get used to the fact that you were going to get slammed as well as praised.
But you never get used to it.
You don't?
No.
Never?
I don't get used to being slammed, and I never got used to being praised. But sometimes I do. I was telling Carlo, my makeup guy, that I have a little chart at home that one of my friends took critiques from different newspapers in different stages of my life, and he wrote them down on a big chart, just single lines, praising Eartha Kitt. Sometimes I open the drawer and I read, oh, that's what she's like. Oh, that's what she is all about. And then I realize that there is a value there, but you have to try and keep it. So you hold on to it without allowing people to destroy it, take it away from you. And like Betty Davis said, always know your enemies. And you never know your enemies, really, because your enemies can turn out to be your very best friend, because you trust them. And those are the ones who are really destroying you behind your back very often. And you don't know that. So the best thing to do is not really have any.
Which sounds like a very isolated existence.
But I have been an isolated person all my life. We can come in and share each other's world, and I like you very much. But when are you going to give me away?
And that never leaves.
Never leaves.